One.
Hey, how's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Here's Keeping It Real with ER Sports. This is Michelangelo with Boom. How we doing today, sir?
Yes. We're here. What's going on, Michelangelo?
Just here, fixing to talk a little something about sports, latest topics.
Okay, let's get into it. Let's get right into it. We thank everybody for tuning in today. This is going to be a daily show. I'll go over the hottest and newest topics in sports and entertainment news from here in the United States to all the way around the world. We are the newest and hottest thing out. So let's jump right into it.
We can start off with good old Canelo Alverez. What's the latest with that there, Boom?
Well, boxing biggest star filed a lawsuit last Tuesday in Los Angeles federal court against Golden Boy Promotion, the one and only Oscar De La Hoya. I guess De La Hoya feel like there can be only one superstar, and he's truly the Golden Boy. So basically, Canelo has not been paid his full amount of money up to this point, and the biggest thing is resulting from his last fight that was postponed because of COVID, in which they tried to make a counteroffer of $15 million based on an estimate of 30 to 35 million guaranteed in earnings for the fight. Back in 2018, there was a deal signed with DAZN Sports, which would stream the event. With no gate revenue, loss of sponsorship, DAZN bagged out from Golden Boy, and so Golden Boy is trying to bag out from Canelo. Canelo's point is, I didn't sign a deal with DAZN. I signed a deal with you, Oscar, and you're going to have to hold up your end. This deal was a landmark deal for boxing. It's the largest deal ever. It overshadowed the Floyd Mayweather deal of $250 million that he signed about 10 years ago. And it was just a massive deal, and it showed that boxing is still here to stay, and that MMA, as big as it is on a world stage, still could not do the type of numbers and guaranteed figures that boxing is doing. But this is definitely a black mark on boxing, and definitely a black mark on Oscar De La Hoya for one of the most prime boxers in the sport to be falling out with probably the second or third biggest promoter in boxing. You've got Bob Arum with Top Rank, you've got Floyd, and you got Oscar,
Yes, sir. I see here that he's seeking $280 million in compensatory damages.
Whew. That's a lot of there's a lot of compensation, isn't it?
It's a lot of money. The question is, will he be able to get that money?
I don't see how that, there was a lot of fights left on the contract. I think it was a 10-fight contract. So I don't see how he's going to be entitled to all of it. Or he's saying that they are in breach of the contract. I mean, I think it's going to come down to can they move forward or not. Mm-hmm. With COVID going on, there's a lot of variables in place here. He at least is probably going to be owed the money from the fight that was postponed. There are some arguments also on who he's going to fight. Golden Boy is stating, if you don't not fighting a big-time fighter, we're not guaranteeing you the money. Because these guarantees are made off of the revenue from gates, sponsorships, marketing, etc. So it's really a tricky subject. It's really a deal that I think Golden Boy should have never got involved in. There's too much money to guarantee. It's just, it's just a problem. And De La Hoya is known to have a laundry list of problems and clothes to wear. And he just added another piece of clothes to his closet.
He definitely did. I was seeing here it's 11 matches under the 11 contract.
Okay.
It was signed back in October 2018.
And how much was guaranteed? $350?
$365.
Wow.
$365 million.
Wow.
A $15 million purse for a December 2018 fight with a good old fringe contender, Rocky Fielding. He was supposed to get $35 million for that one, and then get 10. With the following 10 fights, he was supposed to get a chunk of change for each one. But obviously, with all this going on, it doesn't look that way.
No, look, 11 fights, $360 million. What could possibly go wrong with that deal?
It was supposed to go through 2023. So,
hey, maybe Canelo assigned to old pretty boy Floyd and TBE.
Oh, buddy. I bet you'd like that, wouldn't you?
Hey, at the end of the day, I want what's best for Canelo and his family. And we know that he will get his checks if he signed across the street. So, I mean, Oscar had his chance. He screwed it up. I mean, no, Oscar has nobody to blame but himself for this situation. It's not Floyd's fault. It's not Aaron's fault. He can't even blame Don King for this one. He
Well,
signed basically the biggest name in the sport, and he's getting sued in federal court on 10 counts.
Golden Boy did release a statement here on last Tuesday. He said Canelo's beef is with Danzig, not with him. Wow, the nerve of him to come out with that.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, as Canelo stated, he never signed a contract with Danzig. Golden Boy signed a contract with Danzig. So sound like Oscar trying to throw the blame, but we will see how that turns out here in the coming weeks, especially toward the end of the year as sports start to ramp back up and they try to put a fight in place. So we'll see. I think the last fight was supposed to be in September. That fell apart due to lack of live gates. So they're talking of a fight in maybe November, December. I think if they don't get a fight before the end of the year, I don't see this deal being able to work out. So
Well, they won't be able to get a fight because without Danzig giving the approval, Canelo's not able to fight. So he was recently quoted saying, "I filed the lawsuit so I can get back to boxing and give my fans the show they deserve." So he's at a standstill because of the situation. So not until Danzig goes and gives him a fight. And De La Hoya stated that he's been trying to promote fights for him, but Danzig isn't coming through with him because they don't want to pay over the money because of the COVID situation.
wow. Sound like De La Hoya should have picked a better partner.
Correct.
And Canelo should have picked a better promoter.
That's for sure.
Absolutely. So, hey, what's the best for them? I hope it works out. I'm a big fan of boxing, as you know, and this is not good for the sport of boxing when there's so many other sports that's competitive going against boxing in that same industry right now. So we'll see how all this plays out in the coming months as the year comes to an end.
Yes, sir. Best of luck for Canelo and the rest of his career.
So, next topic here. Dabo and Deshaun. So Michelangelo, what do we have on the table for that? I know they've both been in the news a lot lately. Football is finally picking back up. Money's flying. Helmets are flying.
Well, as a matter of fact, Dabo Sweeney recently reached out to good old Deshaun Watson on his recent contract. He was very, very happy to congratulate him, very genuinely congratulated him and asked him about all his family and told him that he knew since he was playing with him, he was going to do great things. It was a pretty genuine, what would you call it, reach out to him and give him a big hug. But, yeah, good old Deshaun Watson was very thankful for it. And you can tell he's always a genuine person with open arms with everybody that comes across him.
Yeah, and I tell you what, I've always been a fan of Deshaun. Warwick Dunn, the former NFL running back and college All-American, gives out houses throughout the year, but primarily during the holidays to families in need. And Deshaun Watson actually grew up in a house that was given to him by the Warwick Dunn Foundation. And so Deshaun Watson every year does that also now because he stated that his family receiving that house and moving them out of public housing into a better environment really made a difference in him being able to complete high school, get his scholarship to Clemson, and now, as we know, is an NFL superstar quarterback. So he really seems from all outside appearance to be a stand-up young man, a heck of a football player, a heck of a quarterback. And I really do love and respect the fact that he's going out of his way and sacrificing his time and money to try to help others as he was helped.
Correct. Just the way he was brought up, he's extending his hand the same way. That's good. I also think that because of his recent contract, I think it might affect good old Dak Prescott's contract in the future.
It has to. I think it's really putting old Jerry in a no-win situation here. Dak was already going to be guaranteed a ton of money based on the contracts of Russell Wilson and others. Now you have Patrick Mahomes basically gets half of the team this offseason. I mean, he gets enough money where he buys part of the MLB team there. And now you have the Deshaun Watson deal, 4-year, $160 million deal, $39 million average annually. It's really putting Jerry in a position where he's going to have to give Dak maybe $40 million a year. And at one point it seemed like they could have got Dak for $32, $33 million a year. According to sources, the argument was not about the amount per year, but the years on the contract.
Correct.
But now you have Deshaun with a 4-year deal, which I believe is what Dak wanted, a 4-year, not a 5-year deal, at basically $40 million a year. So Dak is a great quarterback, and he's done wonders, and he deserves a big deal. But the Cowboys are faced with the question: is he worth us putting up $160 million, $40 million a year? I don't know. As much as I like him, as much as I enjoyed watching him in college and SEC, that's a lot of money for a quarterback that's not a true game-changing quarterback. He's not Mahomes. He's not Watson. He's not Russell Wilson. So I hate to say he's a game manager because I think he's a level above that. But again, $40 million a year, I mean, that's something that easily 2 years into that you can say, what did we do?
I see where you're coming from, but I believe it's no longer going to be, does he deserve this contract? It's going to be every other quarterback in the league is starting to move up to the 38, 39, $40 million contracts. They're not going to have a choice but to pay him somewhere around that field. You know how the movement goes with when one moves the bar a little higher, the following person comes up a little closer, or if not on top of that one. Just like Patrick Mahomes, who was getting paid $40 million before him? Nobody, but he's setting the bar. So therefore, everybody after him follows with him.
Right, but you still have guys such as, and even though these are older contracts, Aaron Rodgers is on 33 a year. Golf is on 33 a year, but he's trending down probably to 13 a year if he keep this up. You have Matt Ryan at 30 a year. So you really have to look at, is he a $40 million a year quarterback? And I do agree with you. Contracts have risen substantially. I guess we'll have to wait and see because there's a lot of other quarterbacks also going to be coming up here in the next 2 years after Dak. And I will be interested to see what they receive. Matt Stafford is going to be coming up, I think, in 22. And he's put up substantial numbers over the years. But I would like to see if he's going to be re-signed to a major deal. And that contract is going to have a big bearing on a lot of quarterbacks coming after him. Because you have quite a few quarterbacks coming up right after him who are going to be looking at deals also. And if he sells for 32, 33, I think that'll keep the market in that area. If he gets a $40 million deal and everybody and their mother's going to be asking for $40 million and above, which is kind of what happened to the NBA. You got role players start to get $50 million deals. Now everybody's getting $50 million deals.
Correct. But yeah, I believe this year with the Dallas Cowboys, with all the weapons they have, if he does not go past the first round of the playoffs, then there's definitely going to be some trouble. I really doubt Jerry Jones is going to want to stick with them. There's too many weapons on that team today for him not to advance late in the playoffs.
If they don't get it past the first round of the playoffs, you've got to let them go. You have to. Because, look, can he play? Yes. Does he stay out of trouble off the field? Yes. Is he a good representative of the franchise? Yes. But is he a game changer? To this point, he has not proven to be. He's not proven to be a person you can put the ball in his hands in the fourth quarter and tell him, win this for us. Do what you have to do, running, throwing a block on a reverse, whatever it takes. He doesn't seem to have that aggressive nature. He was like that in college. Some quarterbacks are like that. Eli was like that. Not to compare Dak and Eli to same. Obviously, there's a big differences there on both good and bad side, but they have that same demeanor. They just don't seem like they have that fight. And that's not a shot at Dak specifically because sometimes that comes into play. It keeps quarterback calm at the end of games from making mistakes and letting the adrenaline get the best of them. But you just want to see somebody that's really pushing down the line, down the stretch in the fourth quarter to get things done. And too many games this year got away from Dak. Just too many. You know, some of it is not his fault. Some of it is drop balls. But at the end of the day, at the quarterback position, you have to deliver. You have to deliver regardless, especially when you're asking for $40 million a year in guaranteed money. You know, now, to guys like us, there's a whole ton of money. To those guys, I know they're already multi-millionaires, but still, the question comes into play, what else could you get for $40 million a year? Who else could you get?
Correct.
There's a lot of players. There's a lot of kids coming out of college. So there's a lot of things that's going to be placed on the table when you're talking about giving a guy a $40 million, $150 million, north of $150 million guaranteed contract. So looking forward to see how this plays out. It's going to be a long season. and we'll see. I guess sometime next year. I don't see them getting anything worked out since he's already franchised until the offseason. So we'll see what transpires. And I have a feeling this will be his last season as a Dallas Cowboy.
Well, according to Dak's agent, Todd France, he was pretty convinced that this was going to happen. So that's why he told Dak from the beginning to hold off on that contract when Jerry Jones asked him to sign earlier in the year. So he kind of he saw the future. He knew that the other quarterbacks were going to get pretty nice deals. So he was ahead of the game a little bit. But while we're on the subject, good old Dak recently opened up about depression and sought out some help for anxiety. And he said he had a little tough after his brother's suicide. And he came out today talking about how the pandemic is weighing on him. So I kind of feel for him at this moment. And
I do too. My heart goes out to the Prescott family, Dak. I recently heard yesterday Skip Bayless make some insensitive comments regarding Dak, regarding, basically he should toughen up, play through it. He shouldn't be depressed. That's easy to say on the outside looking in. I think that's insensitive. I guess Skip has never lost anyone he cares about in his life. Maybe nobody cares about him. But the network actually made a statement apologizing for Skip statements, which you very seldom see that when top-end anchors are basically overshadowed by the network with an apology. So that shows that it was just so out of line and insensitive from somebody who I've always, respected and liked. I've disagreed a lot with his opinion, but it's just something you don't say. And I was really surprised that Skip said it because he normally stays out of the way and totes the line. He always does on subjects. But definitely heart goes out to Dak and his family. I'm sure that was a very tough loss. Just a very tough loss.
That's very surprising from Skip, especially him being a Cowboy fan. That's very surprising. But sometimes people say things without thinking, and it ends up biting them in the rear.
Oh, I'm sure when he woke up this morning, he wished he wouldn't have said it. But, that comes with it. So.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But as we move forward, what can you tell me about this individual by the name of his name? I believe his last name is Woods. I forgot his first name. What's his first name there?
Is it Tiger? Tiger Woods, y'all? Well,
not exactly. Not this time around. More like Charlie Woods, his son, making a little splash on TV here.
Yeah, superstar, child star Charlie Woods has won back-to-back tournaments in a 9-hole U.S. Kids event. He won 2 weeks ago by 5 shots. He won the week before that. He's just been playing phenomenal. It's the 9 to 11-year-old age division. He won by 3 shots at his first tournament. I believe it was about 4 or 5 weeks ago. He's been playing phenomenal. Since COVID started, he's been staying with Tiger, and they've been playing all day, all night. Tiger has a pretty amazing setup at his house down there on Jupiter Island where they can drive the ball, putt. And apparently the kid is pretty impressive. He's really put up numbers. He says he has a love for the game. So it's really amazing to see him play like this. I mean, he shot a 35 last week, 1 under to win. And he double bogeyed on the last hole. So he was way ahead even before that. So it's really looking to see how he improves throughout the years. He's only 11 years old. So
11 years old?
11.
Wow.
And won back-to-back.
Wow.
Both finishes under par. So I guess we're going to be seeing Tiger for a long time now. Tiger's been caddying for him, and I'm sure once Tiger's done with his career here in the next year, 2 years, maybe max, he's going to be around the courses a lot with his son, following him throughout high school and amateur golf. I'm sure he'll compete in the amateur competition such as his father did. And, one day, hopefully, we'll get to see him as a pro. It would be pretty cool to see Tiger competing as a master, qualifying for maybe a PJ tournament, and surely playing in one. So you don't get to see a lot of father and son combinations in golf, such as we've seen in baseball with the Griffeys and in other sports, and possibly coming here in the next few years with LeBron in basketball. So it would be interesting to see 2 Woods on the course at one time.
Well, I'm sure it reminded good old Tiger of his late father, Earl Woods, when they used to be on the green themselves. So I'm pretty sure it brought back a lot of memories. Because good old Tiger became a prodigy at the age of 5, so they went back.
So I guess Charlie's a little bit behind the 8 ball here, they say, right?
Just a little bit, but the good thing is that he has his father in his corner, so I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure he's going to pick up in no time.
Yeah, having his father and about $500 million might make up for those few years he's late getting around on it.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Tiger Woods was quoted saying, "I wish I had his moves." Well, you probably see some very good talent in front of him in the making.
Absolutely. Well, we thank you guys for joining in today. Please feel free to comment, email us, contact us. We're going to be doing multiple shows on multiple topics. We're going to have some specials coming up. The first special is going to be opinions on playing sports with coronavirus. That was the full quarantine. Now, some sports have opened back up, some have not. Some players have opted to opt out. And we're going to really touch on that, and we're going to take some callers and get outside opinions on that. This is our first show. Bear with us. We will improve. So we're a rookie right now, but I guarantee you, come February, we will be Super Bowl ready. So
there you go. Thanks a lot. This is Michelangelo, and
boom.
y'all take it easy. Thank you for joining in.